So, hey, how's it going, guys? Rob Childs here, and I just wanted to introduce you to one of my friends. Her name is Jennifer Agard, and her story is very compelling. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the story with her. I will leave the floor open to her to let her introduce herself, who she is, and kind of what she's done and been through. So, Jennifer, if you don't mind, kind of giving us a just a little intro and kind of where you're from and kind of who you are.
All right. My name is Jennifer Agard. Hi, everybody. Jennifer Agard. And I'm really from the Caribbean. I'm Guyanese, Barbadian, and I came to America a couple years ago, about 40 years ago. So I'm kind of American. So Guyanese, Barbadian, American. But besides that, I'm married woman, 35 years this week. Thank God for that.
Congratulations.
Yes, 35 years and no kids. And but all is well. But my story is interesting. Although it's interesting, it is familiar. Other people go through the same thing, and I've called it a breast cancer survivor turning my mess, which breast cancer is like a mess, and turning it to a message. And I decided, like, you know what? It was trying to beat me up. It did beat me up, but it never knocked me out. And I'm here just to tell the message and to encourage people, because it's a hard fight. It's a hard fight. It's not an easy road. And sometimes you want to give up. But I'm trying to say to people and encourage people not to give up. Hold on a little longer. Maybe you'll make it to the end. I can't say you will definitely make it to the end, because everybody don't make it. But maybe you'll make it to the end. Just fight and fight and fight. It's a fighting game. And you know what? A couple years ago, I wrote a book on my story, and I called it, funny enough, I call it I felt like I was in a boxing ring, and I'm fighting the big C. I never called his name. I never called the name. I call it the big C, but I'm fighting that big C, and I am in this ring fighting this big C, and I have to fight. And I made it 10 rounds. Round one, 10 rounds I went. Round one, I call it the early detection. And that's the time when when we have early detection, we kind of get a little more opportunity to save our lives. And that's why I try to encourage people that sometimes the doctors say wait until you're 40, but it doesn't always work that way, because I have a younger sister. She discovered that she had breast cancer at the age of 33. So if she had waited until she was 40, she would have been gone already. So as soon as you feel a little uncomfortableness anywhere, besides breast, any other uncomfortableness, follow up with the doctor and make sure, because early detection is the key to this whole mess.
Yeah, definitely. The mess to a message, that I remember when we first spoke, that struck me, because I've been dealing with it for years now, and it's kind of, it learns to progress differently in my scenario, to where it's, just kind of, it's through bone and blood marrow, so it can pop up anywhere. In this instance, it's, I understand that fight and that want to give up, and that's kind of why I started this. And it's amazing that you brought up the fight, because it's literally what we are. It's a fighter's story. It's our story, and it does not have to be what you do in a ring, like what you do in a cage, anything like that. That's actually the easy fight. I've found that the fight that we go through on a daily basis, it's more of a mental struggle. It's that the pain, or the chemo, or whatever the drug or the scenario may be, it's a constant mental battle that you can't forget. You can just put it to the side, and while everyone around you forgets about it, or they don't have to deal with it, it's getting out of a car feels a certain way, putting on clothes, looking at your calendar and wondering if you've missed a meeting, or a doctor's meeting, or how many prescriptions you have to take. So you're definitely correct in that it is a fight, because it is a lifelong fight, and giving up Like I gave up a couple times as far as like for the day,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody's had those, like you're on the
Yeah,
kitchen floor, you're crying and
yeah,
you're done and you cannot do it anymore. But then the next day you're back in it, and
back in again.
it makes you stronger and stronger every single
Yeah,
time. So if
yeah.
you could just kind of walk everybody through kind of how you got diagnosed leading up to it, and then how that kind of changed your life, because I know quite a bit has changed. um it's one of those things that once it starts, it doesn't stop. It's a rabbit
Mhm.
hole that's there's no ladder to this rabbit hole. It's a slide.
You're
and,
right. You're
and
right.
once you're
You're
on it,
right.
you're on it. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind just kind of like walking our listeners through kind of like the beginning of your fight, I guess.
All right. Um, but my background is that my mother, she died from breast cancer. And she died at the age of 49 plus. She wasn't even quite sick. She wasn't even quite 50. And I was always mad because she went to the doctor and I took her to the doctor and they did not detect it. They didn't even notice that she had that until it was really far gone. So with that in mind, I decided I will since in my 20s, I'm going to go for always check, always check. When the doctor sent me away, I said, listen, this is my body. I need for you to check to see if everything is okay with me. Everything went good for a couple of years. But then one day, I went to a gynecologist. It's so funny. I went to the gynecologist. Previously, I went to get my mammogram and everything came back negative. So regular gynecologist, and I do not know until today why. He told me I need for you to go and get an MRI on your breast. And I said, why? I just get a negative thing. I don't need to do that. And reluctantly, I went. And I thank God every single day that I did an MRI. They found the cells and the aggressive cancer hiding behind the duct of the breast. And with that, oh my gosh, that when you hear that word, you have cancer, oh my gosh. It's no matter what kind of cancer, when you hear that, it's really traumatizing. It really stops you in a trap. So I was at work sitting on my desk and the doctor called me and he said, come in, but come right now and get your husband. Oh my gosh. It took me like 50 minutes to drive a good hour's drive. It took me like 50 minutes. I drove so fast to get into the doctor's office. And as I sat down, he told me, listen, you have breast cancer. You need to address it right now. Oh, my heart melted. But I picked myself up and I said, I have to do it. I have to save my life. I have to save my life. And so immediately I went into surgery. Well, it took like a month afterwards. And I went into surgery and did what I need to do because it was better to, and as you just said a few minutes ago, it's a lot mental, it's a lot mental, more than the physical, I think sometimes. And it reminded me this week, my gynecologist, not my gynecologist, my oncologist asked me to come in and do a PET scan. And I said to him, I am not going to come because sometimes when you feel like you're okay and you know you should be doing it, I just had one. You have to build up your mind to go because remember, every time you go for a test, you're kind of scared inside. You're kind of feeling, oh gosh, I hope they can find, I hope they find this, I hope they, what's going to happen, and this fear that builds up in you. So sometimes every single time it's a mental thing. You have to fight it. You have to fight it. So the battle is not only a physical fight, it's also a mental fight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm going through right now, is trying to figure out that mental fight. I just to be vulnerable for a second, I feel like as a man, we don't talk so much about like feelings and emotions and like problems and issues that go on, and we kind of like internalize them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that plays a huge role on like a mental state and trying to like protect everything. And just talking to other women who's also survived cancer, you have this motherly instinct to protect. So you as well you go through the same thing to where you're not always divulging the information to your loved ones. You're kind of protecting them a little bit, and you're taking that on. It's almost like every day you're carrying a boulder and a little bit of dust gets tossed onto it, and over time that dust kind of wears off, or it kind of builds up and it becomes heavier and heavier. How exactly do you go about, or did you go about, and you still do, I'm sure,
Yeah.
going through that daily struggle? Did you seek out counseling or anything? Because I was hoping to kind of get into like the more exactly of what you did with your surgery, what exactly that entailed, and as being a woman, how much that did change you and your mental state, going through everything.
Well, as a woman and who is older than her husband, my husband is six years younger than I.
Good for you.
It kind of messes up your mind because you're thinking he's a younger person, and I have this illness, and it may cause I might die, or as the doctor said, because to go a little further, I had to remove my breast. It's first thing, not even remove my breast. When they did the surgery, everything fall apart, and I was left with one breast.
What exactly what surgery is it called, just for people that are kind of unaware of exactly what they do or what the surgery is called?
Well, when I went to the doctor, I first did, and that's my road too. I went into the doctor's office, and they went in and they removed the lump. Or when they removed, or whatever they found, and they removed it, and they did a test, and they realized that, because it was such aggressive cancer, we need to go remove I think they call it the ligament, not the ligament, something in the ligament, something there. And they removed that. But then they said, to be safe, the gynecologist said, to be safe, let's do a total hysterectomy. And he did a total hysterectomy because he said many times when women get breast cancer, they tend to have uterus cancer too. So I said, you know what? It's so funny. I didn't go into the doctor with my husband that day, but I went, and he said, since he told me that, I said, when is the next surgery? And that was a Tuesday. He said, Thursday. I said, book me, because I'm fighting to live. I don't care about all of that. And I want to inject something in there, because I've met a woman, and for years she married her husband, and she had a hysterectomy, and she never let him know, because women are kind of fearful of their husband leaving them when they have these kind of things. And I understand them in a way, but then to me, you have to be a little selfish. You have to think about your life and make those decisions on your own. It doesn't mean you don't discuss it with your husband or your partner. You discuss it, but you should make the final decision about your bodies. I made a final decision to remove it. And then after then, they say to me, well, the other next thing to do is to remove the breast, because I did a Bracha Test, which is a test to check to see if it's in the genes. And it was very, very high in my family genes, 85%. That means I'm risking my life. It may come back again.
What exactly is that? Is that the Brexit, or there's a test and a gene for that? What
right.
Yeah.
BRAC, I think it is.
Right.
Right. Yes, it's a test to check to see if it's in the genes and how strong it is in these genes. And it's 85% for the girls in my family and 50% for the boys. And I have 6 sisters. I came from a big family. And so far, 4 girls had it.
Wow.
2 died. No, 1 died. 1 died, and 3 of us, thank God, we're still alive. Yeah. So it's strong in the genes. So I make a decision to remove the breast, and saying that removing the breast means I have a young husband who now has to look at me and see like a damaged goods, so to say, damaged goods. But it works with the mental, your mind tell you, well, am I going to lose him? How he's going to look at me? But I praise God. One of the reasons why I started this ministry and why I try to encourage people, because I saw how my husband was so supportive all the way. And sometimes we don't have a partner that supports us, and Sometimes our partner walk away from our lives at that time. I found a lot of people have that problem where their husbands divorce them. Soon as they hear that they have a cancer, they divorce them. But my husband stuck all the way. He was with me in every single appointment, every single chemo session, every single session he was there with me. And so that made it a little easy for me. But at the same time, many times when I was a little uncomfortable being vulnerable in front of him, but he would make it, God, you're still my wife, you know?
Yeah. No, I understand. I myself, I just got engaged about a year ago, and my fiance is actually younger than I am, and so she knew kind of like health issues going into, our relationship and everything. But you do have that damaged goods feeling, especially when your significant other is younger than you, or at least in my scenario. It's yeah, I can't imagine what it's like being a woman and going through a hysterectomy and saying that you're unable to bear children. I know as like a man, it's hard for me because so the doctor wants me to take chemo. It's like an oral chemo that I would take throughout like a daily chemo, but with that, it takes away kind of like fertility. It wreaks havoc on your body, as you know. And so that's something that I have to like struggle with taking. Is it like the protection and like the protecting the duration of my life, my existence, or hiding something and taking a little bit more pain to try to see how it plays out, I guess, is a very hard thing that I have to deal with. So I can definitely understand.
But remember, you come first, though. You got to
Oh
remember,
yeah.
you come first in life, and as long as love is there, love will last. As
Yeah.
a person really love you, they will stand by you.
Yeah,
And but you have to put your life first.
yeah, you definitely do. It's a process that I've found that it's not easy to do.
Yes.
I feel like especially in the society that I'm surrounded by and my perception of it, it feels like you have to walk on eggshells. Like you have to not only protect myself, but I have to protect other people around me and how I verbalize things. That it's not okay to be like somebody asks, do you want to hang out today? Be like, no, I do not. There has to be like this further explanation of why I don't want to, when in reality it doesn't. It's my decision. I don't want to do that. And so those are boundaries that I've had to learn, as I know other survivors have also had to try to learn. And we try to protect ourselves and others from so much that it's that burden. And so you spoke about you started a ministry. Would you mind kind of like going through that and exactly what it is you are doing? Because I know you and your husband have both, through what we spoke about earlier, your story is significantly larger than what we've already kind of spoke about. But with your ministry, I know you're going out and you're helping as many people as possible. So can you kind of touch on that a little bit and let us know kind of what that is?
Well, my husband and I, we started a ministry called Broken Wings. Broken Wings. We look at this as birds, and the bird has lost its wing. It's just broken, and just mend it. And so we try to do like a support to support people through this whole process. Well, we support especially in situations that, for instance, I know what it is to go through cancer. I know what it is when somebody's not there in the waiting room waiting on you. I see it. I see other people are there alone. And so, and because I always have somebody, I say to myself, oh, how it feels good to have somebody there. So I try to be there for people. My husband and I, we try to be there. So one of the things we would do, like if I know somebody who going through, it could be a male or a female, but they're going through this, especially cancer, we do it with death too, when people have death in their lives. But cancer we're talking about right now, I will go to their houses and help them, take them to the sessions, to the chemo sessions, just sit with you. I'm just there to hug you. I'm just there to say, well, I'm there to support you. You have somebody there with you. Or In addition to that, I I go and help clean your house or help cook food, cook your meals. I put up meals for a period of time, like for a couple of weeks in the freezer, so that you would have it there and you don't have to worry about that. So I like to do as I like to I always talk about love in action, because too many of us say I love you, and it's just words. But when we're about to do it, oh my gosh, love is a sacrifice. So if you don't feel the pain in trying to love somebody, to me, it's not true love. And let me explain that a little.
Yeah.
Many times when my husband and I do a ministry and we go out to help anybody, we go any state out of the country. It's from our pockets. And we don't have a lot of money. But even if we have to borrow that money, we will borrow that money, take a flight, go and do what we need to do and come back. So love hurts. It hurts your pocket. It hurts your time, but you are there to support someone. So that's what we really do, try to support people, and not only support the person who is ill, but the people, the family, because they don't know what to do. I remember when I was going through my situation, my father wouldn't come to see me. He's from Barbados. He was afraid because he heard my voice on the phone. It sounds like I'm going to die. And he's afraid. My brother won't come to visit me. They don't know what to do. They don't know what, sometimes people don't know what to say. But sometimes you have to realize that you don't have to say something. Just be there. Just be there and help somebody. Just say, I'm here for you. And so that's how the ministry starts. We just try to support. And we do the same thing when it comes to death in the family, because I know what it is to lose a mother. I know what it is to lose a sister. And another thing I do is to go to people's homes when they're in situations. Sometimes I go visit people I don't even know. I heard it on the news and they die, and I know how the mother or the sister, the brother will be feeling at that time. And I would just show up just to be there and say, I'm here to support you. I'm here. I'm just here for you. So I try to be here for people. We try to do that for people just to support. So that's how the ministry started, Broken Wings Ministry. And I go to Costco, Walmart, BJ's, those clubs, those big companies, and I try to get fundings like pills, vitamins, anything that I can help out to help somebody, especially out of the country. And take it down there, ship it in, go to the hospitals, give out a care package. Because I remembered when I was doing radiation, there was a group of people that came from a company, I can't remember what company it was, and they gave us care packages and taught us how to put on makeup. But you don't want to put up a makeup then. They taught us how to fix your hair and look a little pretty, how to, just to take care of yourself. And that meant a lot for me. And so when I finished my radiation, I said, I'm going to do that for somebody. Give them a care package, some tooth. Dentists give me hundreds of toothpaste and toothbrushes, hundreds, and I would give them out. And especially the toothpaste that are gentle for your teeth. But when you're taking chemotherapy, it messes up your gums sometimes.
Yeah, everything feels fragile.
Everything, yeah. So you're just there to support. That's the main thing, to support.
That I almost kind of teared up a little bit, like, to be honest. So you don't see that like what you're doing doesn't happen, like I'm in and out of the hospital at least once every 2 weeks, probably, minimum twice a month.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you what it's the amount of people that I see, especially with this pandemic. You're not allowed to have guests come to the hospital. Yeah. So there's people that are literally just sitting there by themselves, and I've gone through it like for years. But having someone there, it means the world, even if you're not saying anything. Yes. It's like if you're hurting and you don't know how to verbalize it, you can just start lashing out, and it could be at people you don't mean it to be, and all you really need is someone to just be there to listen to you. So for you to actually leave the country at certain times to go help these people is amazing and commendable. So thank you from the world for doing that, first of all, because that's amazing. And being who I am, I feel like that's coming from somewhere, not
Yeah.
just from your experience and going through cancer, but is there like something that to where you did feel alone or hurt or like mistrusted or anything? I know we had kind of talked about like your relationship a little bit. Is there like, is that something that you'd feel comfortable kind of bringing up into kind of how like, because it did strengthen your relationship into kind of what it is now?
You know, I think I came from a big family, and my parents brought us up to care and to love. We were 12, and yet my mother, we had 12 children, and yet my mother and my father used to make sure that we help someone. And if someone don't have a meal and they ask for rice, my parents would give them meat because they can't eat the rice alone. So I was brought up to help to care for people and help our people. But I was thinking about it over and over today. And in fact, this week, I was saying, I tell my husband, I love him so much, because I'm going to step back a little to know that sometimes you might walk out of a relationship and you don't know what is in store for you in the future. Mm-hmm. Because years, I told you, when I just got married, it was in my 12th, 10th, or 10th, I think it's 10 years going on to the 11th year. I had a problem with my marriage. My husband cheated. I know he really didn't want to, but things happen, and it happened. Mm-hmm. And that was a real difficult time for me, because I've never experienced something like that. My husband treats me like a queen all my life. So for that to happen, it was really hurtful for me. And I had never wanted to divorce. No, not that I never. I always say, anything like this happened to me in life, I'm the first going to go get a divorce paper. But in my spirit, and I'm going to say God did not allow me to do it. And I was mad with God, because I'm saying, I want to leave this man. But somehow deep in my spirit, I just didn't know how to do it. I just feel it was the right thing to do. And that's torture, because we are human beings, you're hurt. Things you go through in life, and your husband and your wife, whoever, they turn their backs on you at that time. It's hurtful, but I didn't get it okay inside of me to do it. And I thank God that I hang in there. And my husband had mentioned, because I showed him so much love in that time of disappointment. He disappointed me, and I showed him love during that time. And I was there despite of that, brought him back. And I thank God every day, because if I had walked out of his life and do what I wanted to do, which is walk out, divorce him, I wouldn't have had him to be there for me. I think it was around the 18th year of our marriage, 20 years of our marriage. He was there for me. But God knew that in the future, this would have happened to me. I would have gotten cancer. I would have needed somebody close to me. And he is the best person to be sick with. In fact, I think he overdo it. He's all over you. He doesn't give you a break. He takes care of you a lot. And if I had walked out of his life, I would not have gotten that. So I look back at things like that and said, he was there for me despite of. He was there for me around the clock. Why can't I be there for somebody else? And I think there is where it came, where it started. But I thank God that I listened to him. And I wrote another book, a small little, because I like to write things that happen to me in life to encourage other people. And I wrote one saying that sometimes things happen to you in life and we do not know what the future is. So sometimes we have to step back and let God direct us. Sometimes we have to let our feelings, put the feelings aside and let God lead the way. And there's a song that always take me through when I go into a situation, a song that says, he did not, which is God, didn't bring me this far in life to leave me. And if he didn't bring me this far to leave me, I still have hope. I still have hope. And I'm there just to encourage some other people. So anybody who's listening, there is hope. And we need to treat others as human beings and stop judging. You know, we judge each other, but none of us are perfect.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know I'm not. I can only speak for myself, and I've
Right?
probably done 20 things wrong today. Yeah, we are definitely not perfect people.
So,
You mentioned writing a couple books.
yeah.
Um, so is there any way of you telling us where we can get these books or read about them or kind of get more information on everything?
I did about 14 so far, little short little books about my life and anything that occur in life. It's on, and some fictions too, is on Amazon. And I think if you put my name, Jennifer Agard, some of them will pop up.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm definitely going to put a link to those in the bottom. Um, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't even really know where to go from here. I feel like we have covered quite a bit, and it's, I know everybody's time is pretty precious. I want to first thank you for coming on, kind of giving us your story, going through everything. I want to kind of give you just a few minutes, if you don't mind,
Yes.
just to kind of give the listeners of somebody that may be needing help, how they can get in touch with you, kind of some advice you may give to somebody, and then your social media and how people can actually get in contact with you if they do need your service or even just have someone to talk to at night. Because honestly, that's one of the most important things, and that's what you're offering.
Yeah, my husband, he's a mailman. And anytime he talks to everybody, he's one of the best mailmen they ever find. I've never met a mailman like him yet. He speaks to everybody, encourage everybody every single day. And anytime he meets anybody and going through any situation, he gives them my number and say, call my wife. She's going to call you up and, encourage you. So I would call him and say hi. Or, when people are in situation, they don't know where to turn to at nights, late at night, just give me, you could just go on my social media, Jennifer Agard. Sometimes it's Dr. Jennifer Agard or Jennifer Agard, any one of them.
Okay.
And I have a podcast, and it's Let Us Reason Together with Dr. Jen. Let Us Reason Together with Dr. Jen. And I try to put out only words of encouragement. Only words of encouragement. And it's I have a YouTube channel, and it's Dr. Jennifer Agard on the YouTube channel. And what else? You can find me on Facebook, Jennifer Agard. I can see everything about me there.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays it's like like even 10 years ago, you would just have a business card and that would be it. And now you have to have 14 different social media sites, remember your podcast name, the YouTube channel. And then, there's a lot going on. But yeah, that's a whole different story. All right, great. I genuinely appreciate all of your time, kind of putting everything out there. I'm going to make sure to do just a little bit of research. I want to make sure that everything gets put into the notes below, to have all your social media direct in there. Make sure that we have all of your YouTube channels. Everything.
I'll send them to you too.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, and I will definitely put those down below. I hope someone out there that needs this can hear this and they can get in touch with you and you can work your magic. Your story is significantly longer than what we've been able to get into today, but we barely scratched the surface. And even just with that, it was a pretty deep story. So thank you so much for coming on, allowing me to be a part of your life and interview you and have this conversation. I'm sure in the future we'll be talking again. I feel like this podcasting thing has kind of opened up the world, made me realize how much bigger it is, but it's also made it a little bit smaller in contacting people. And there's always something that we can have in common if we just take the time to actually look at somebody else as another person and stop being so selfish and worried about our own shit. So thank you so much for this. And I will let you get back to the rest of your day. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm not good at like ending stuff.
It's all right. It's all right. And it's great meeting you. And it's great to have, I encourage you to continue to do what you're doing and bless others, because a lot of people need encouragement. A lot of people need to know that they're not alone, because we tend to think we are alone in this situation. We are not alone. There's always one or two person who is going through the same situation like you.
Yeah,
And we
most
just need
definitely.
to understand other people and help each other.
Yep. And that's why I started this, and it's called The Fighter's Story, because we are all
I love
fighting
it.
somehow,
Yeah.
and our story does not have to end.
Amen. That's true.
So, all right. Thank you again. And I will be speaking to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.